time ago, in Ebu United Kingdom, lived Ifoma, the daughter of Okonicha and Nkechi. Okonicha and Nkechi loved themselves initially until their love went sour, simply because of jealousy and competition. Okonicha was a tailor who was so good at his crafts. He was patronized massively by the people within and outside his locality. And so picking up his responsibility as a husband and as a father wasn't really an issue. Nkechi, his wife, was also doing well financially because she was an accountant. Nkechi was very supportive and on several occasions had begged her husband to upgrade, as fashion is not an ancient of the days thing, but something that keeps evolving over time, just so he can remain relevant in his field. Okonicha will always brag that an experienced tailor like him will never become irrelevant in this world or the age to come. And besides, he saw it as a great step down, going to learn from people he said were still very tender or even in the womb when he started handling measuring tapes. Nkechi tried all she could do as a wife to change his mindset, including talking to people her husband respects so well, just so he could reason and upgrade. But whatever anyone says will enter through his right ear and pop out through the left. Nkechi got tired and then decided to focus on herself and daughter and let Okonicha learn the hard way. She furthered her studies and became a certified public accountant. She immediately got promoted in her place of work and her salary got tripled. She started buying properties in her name and in her daughter's name. That was how the devil took a black executive chair and sat at the center of her marriage. Okonicha began to envy his wife. How can the woman I marry with my money be wealthier than I am? Buying properties in her name. Is she not supposed to buy it in my name as the head of this home? So this woman doesn't value me in any way. She changes clothes, hairs, and I'm almost beginning to look like a house help when I'm standing by her. And she doesn't even care. This is not right in any way, and I must stand up and correct it before it blows out of proportion. Nkechi was still a very good wife, carrying her husband along with almost all the activities in her office, and we made sure bills were paid, including her daughter's school fees, without disturbing her husband. And this was what made Okonicha to lose it completely. He said to her, "So you are now the man and at the same time the woman of this house. You have completely sewn it into the heart of our daughter that you are the breadwinner. I thought I knew you, but money have made you very proud that you no longer submit. You spend your money and buy things without obtaining permission from me, your husband. I no longer mean anything to you because you have money, right?" Nkechi was trying to figure out where all these things were coming from. But since she doesn't want trouble, she apologized and asked her husband politely, "Where have I wronged you? And how do you want me to correct my wrong?" And Okonicha answered her and said, "It is so simple now. If you have common sense or at least conscience, you should know that whenever you collect your salary, you should hand over everything. I mean all, 100% to me. That's how good wives behave. Even God instructed wives to be submissive to their own husbands. My dear, in case you don't know, it includes your money. Then I, being the head of the house, will share it appropriately, then our daughter will respect me more. And apart from the respect, she will have a bragging right when she's with her friends that her father is over trying in playing his role. And Nkechi then asks a simple question. How will I then take care of myself and then play my role as a mother? Because all what you said has only one bold statement, which is selfishness. Okon interrupted. Don't insult me, because of your chicken change. I said when you hand over your full salary to me, I will share it appropriately. Does that not suggest that I will give you something that you can use to take care of yourself and then play your motherly role? And Nkechi said, I will wake up in the morning, sometimes feeling very lazy, but will be left with no other option than to prepare and go to work. Work from morning to late evening. Return home very tired and then prepare our dinner. And finally find myself sleeping like a log of wood, only to hand over my full salary to you. And then you will give me what you think will be enough for me, even if it is 5K that crosses your mind. My darling husband, I have heard you. You know I love you so much. And I have been a good husband to you from inception. So handing over my full salary to you won't be a problem at all. This time, Okon was so excited. And in his mind, he has planned that immediately the salary comes, he will first go to the markets and buy different materials and tailoring stuffs to stock up his shop. And then Nkechi continued, I will be giving you my full salary, sir, but that will only be in your dream. And Okon said, what? So I married you and not your money. From today, I command you to stop paying our bills, stop buying foodstuffs, and stop paying my daughter's school fees. If I have money, I will pay. In my family, it is an abomination for a woman to do the things her husband is supposed to be doing. And Nkechi added, but it is never an abomination for a woman to submit her full salary to the man of the house. You see how selfish you are. I. None of your statements showed intentionality over your wife or your daughter. You even want your daughter's schooling to be delayed because of what only God knows. Now listen, let me school you. It takes a man and a woman to make a child. And I, Nkechi, is in no way a lesser parent. So you don't have any right to delay my daughter's schooling when God has blessed me with the resources. For others, I will hands up. But for the child God has blessed me with, she is part of the reasons I upgraded in my career, because I want the very best for her. And remember, I also begged you to upgrade. But same way you cut fabrics to sew, you have sewn your garment of pride with 100 years and have refused to pull it. And now you want to drag me down. Listen, my darling husband. Being a good wife does not in any way insinuate being a fool. I know good intentions when I see one. For now, I need to rest because I had a very long day. Ifeoma eavesdrops on her parents, and as a smart girl, she vowed to look out for her mother because she only sensed envy from all her father said to her. Okon began to plan on how to frustrate his wife, and he got a perfect idea on how to execute his plan. After some weeks, Nkechi got paid again, and she had forgotten all her husband said to her. She thought everything has ended because they've been communicating as husband and wife. So she bought things that they needed in the house, including foodstuffs. And when she returned home, she arranged everything in the kitchen. And then she saw a part of her husband that she had never seen since they got married. Okon said to her with so much aggression, in the presence of Ifeoma, their daughter, if you don't return all the things you bought right now, then be ready to put your leg in the same trouser with me. If I can't give you money to buy foodstuffs, then we should all stay hungry. Stop reminding me on daily basis that you are richer than I am. Ifeoma, his daughter, said to him, Daddy, in all honesty, I think you are overreacting. And Nkechi cautioned her and said, don't say that to your father. And Okon said, Mba now, is that not all you want? That's your plan. And he turned to Ifeoma and said to her, Bia, if I bounce on you with this annoyance, you will be picking your full teeth from the floor. So before I open my eyes, you have left this place with immediate effects. Ifeoma located her room with so much fear. And Okon said to his wife, your time starts now. And he excused her. Nkechi started crying. And she asked, how will I return all these things I bought? What will I tell them? That my husband said he must be the one to pay? Hey God, but is this not foolishness? If he doesn't buy foodstuffs, we will remain hungry. Haba, this is pure wickedness and nothing more. I think this man has eventually opened my eyes to the need of having my own house. This is no longer the cool-headed husband I married. He is beginning to metamorphose into a mean and heartless being. I need to find a place I can easily run to together with my daughter if things eventually get worse. But how will I return all these things, I mean the whole of it. And it is even becoming late. And Ifeoma whispered to her, let's pack it into your car. Then you will drive out and spend hours outside. And then you return home. When he has gone to his shop, we will pack everything into the pantry and lock it up. I can't survive 10 minutes hunger. Oh. Mommy, you know now. And you have always called me a foodie. Please help my eating ministry. Especially now that we'll soon enter summer holiday. Because Nkechi became relieved. Because Ifeoma just solved a puzzle. She bought the idea. But this time, she drove out with her daughter and they went to a restaurant to eat. And when they returned home, Okon, with the annoyance and hunger, has slept off. So they packed everything into the pantry as Ifeoma suggested and locked everywhere up. The next day, Okon woke up feeling so fulfilled as the man of the house. In his words, even with her millions of naira, I control her. And nobody ate in this house at night. And nobody will eat this morning too. Because there is nothing to cook. When she returns at night, I will give her just 2,000 naira to cook. And that's what they will eat. She will see correct shege in my hands. And then she will finally be left with no other option than to submit all her salary to me. But I'm suffering this thing too. Oh. I am really hungry. But it's okay. It's just a matter of time. Part of the sacrifices I need to pay in order for me to keep this woman under my control. He quickly prepared and rushed to his shop and bought a plate of rice from Mama Put and pushed it down with a bottle of Motsina. Nkechi took her daughter to school and gave her money that would be enough for the day's meal. When she got to her office, she told her close colleague that she needed a 4-bedroom duplex. And her colleague said, "Unfortunately, the one I know of is not for rent, it is for sale." And Nkechi said, "This is pure miracle. I don't want to rent either. I want to buy." She put everything in place and her colleague drove her there. She loved the environment and everything about the house. She made payments immediately to the real estate company and everything was completed and processed almost immediately. She paid cleaning agents too and they helped in tidying up everywhere. Okon on his part had pounded yam and nsala soup for lunch and had planned to take white rice and stew for dinner before going home. At exactly 4 o'clock, Nkechi drove home, carried all the foodstuffs and took them to her new house. As an intentional mother, she took her daughter along, cooked, and they ate. Ifoma asked, "Mom, who owns here? You are so free, entering everywhere with no restrictions." And Nkechi said to her, "I sincerely know that this is not right, but I'm only doing this thing to save my head from unnecessary drama and thoughts. I bought this house." And Ifoma asks, "Does that mean we'll be living here?" "No, not at all," Nkechi responded. "We will be living with my husband, your father, till Jesus comes." "But mommy, Daddy is already envious of you. And with his recent attitude and the way he shouts at you, he will soon start hitting you. Would that be the right time for you to leave? I love him as my father, but I would have appreciated if he showed me love by loving you and appreciating that God blessed him with a good and industrious wife." Nkechi knew what her daughter said was sharply the truth, but she was scared of her daughter having wrong perception about men. And she said, "You don't know your father, my darling. He loves me so well, even beyond what you can imagine. He is facing a lot currently, and as a man, he reacts to things differently. But I promise, very soon, everything will return to normal. But please, this house is between you and I. I want to surprise your daddy with it. So zip your mouth." "Okay, mommy, I have heard you," Ifoma responded. They drove home and they met Okonicha in the house. They greeted and Okonicha responded by saying, "This your job is beginning to take more of your time. If it continues like this, then I will have no other option than to stop you from working. You should be modeling what a good wife represents to her only daughter, and not this you're going to work in the morning and returning late. Growing up, by this time, almost all families must have eaten, because our mothers were family-oriented, not the kind of mothers we have now, who only want to be alpha females, competing in finances with their husbands." Nkechi didn't say anything because she knew he wanted nothing but trouble, and her silence triggered Okonicha. He said, so you kept quiet. In other words, I am saying gibberish. Common sorry you can't say because you are too proud. So proud. Certified public accountant, and I am an ordinary tailor. Obioma, don't worry. I will show you that even as an Obioma, I have my senses intact and I know my position as your husband, as your head, and so you won't take me for a ride. Mba, I won't allow you, not even for a second. Ifoma was shocked. She couldn't figure why her father spoke in such a way to her mother. This again confirmed that her father was envious of her mother's success. Okoncha gave Nkechi 2,000 naira and said to her, "Go and cook dinner. I will prefer egusi soup and semo." Nkechi asked, "With 2,000 naira?" And he responded, "That's all I have, and that's all you should use. Make sure you don't add 1 kobo to that money." Nkechi left for the market, and Okonja entered inside his room and was excited. He said, "This is how you people will be eating nonsense in this house, and I will be enjoying anytime I go to my shop." While Ifoma was grateful for her mother, she said, "I am so sure that the quantity of stuffs to be purchased without 2K will not be enough for only me if I have not eaten. That's how I would have ended up eating in the dream and be calling the witches and wizards in Able United Kingdom, not knowing that it is pure organic hunger." Nkechi returned from the market. She bought what 2K could afford. She prepared it and served the food. She called her husband, but Okonicha, who had eaten to his satisfaction, ignored her. Nkechi covered the food. She freshened up and retired back to bed. The next day, she woke up so early, saw the food still intact. She microwaved it and still served it on the dining table. She got dressed with her daughter and left the house earlier than usual to her new house, just to microwave the leftover food, which would be enough for her and her daughter. Okoncha woke up and was so furious when he discovered that they didn't eat the food. And he was determined that Nkechi will never go to work again. He prepared and went to his shop, where he had already planned to have his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When all of them returned home, Okoncha beat his wife blue black. He said, "So I brought out my hard-earned money for you to cook. And you cooked, and you didn't eat from it. And you also told my daughter not to eat as well. You want to poison her mind against me." Nkechi didn't say anything, and her silence prepared another round of beating. Ifoma couldn't take it anymore, and she said to her father, "You are the one poisoning my heart against you with your actions. I am no longer a baby, and I can see and hear as well. If the food is so good, why didn't you eat it? Daddy, why are you jealous of my mother? She is my role model, and I want to be successful as she is. But daily, you just make me see reasons why I must not get married. Because I can't stand a man who sees his wife's success as a threat." Okonicha twisted her mouth and gave her the beating of her life. Ifoma regretted why she opened her mouth in the first place, and she planned what she would do, as it has become as clear as a crystal that her mother's life is being threatened. During the weekend, her father was out already, and she told her mother, I know you know what you are doing, but please, let's take a few of our clothes to your new house. Just as I predicted that my daddy will hit you someday, and it has eventually happened. I can also tell you that he will lock us outside. Mother, so we don't end up being stranded, let's pack our clothes and go there. Remember, you have to go to work. So please, don't say no. Nkechi saw wisdom in what her daughter said, and she didn't oppose. They packed a few things to the new house, ate and had a good time before returning home. Okon returned home that day, angry and hungry, because he had no patronage. In fact, his customers' base had reduced drastically because his line of fashion is almost running into extinction. He became so angry with his wife. He remembered the plan he had. If only his wife submitted her full salary to him. He went to the kitchen. The whole pots were shining. No foodstuff anywhere, because he had commanded his wife not to buy anything again in the house. And what did you hear about a hungry man? Okon became angry. He checked the microwave and saw the food Nkechi prepared during the week with the 2K given to her. He ate it, but the food has lost its taste and alignment. But at that time, Okon didn't mind because he was indeed hungry. When he was done eating, he began to wonder how his wife and daughter had been feeding. He then said, you can imagine, that woman keeps buying food morning, afternoon, and night. Meanwhile, I am here looking for money to touch my shop. That woman is very stingy. Akagon. And I must collect it either by force or jejely. I can't be penniless when I am married to someone who has money. Come to think of it now, she is my property. With this annoyance, he entered into the room and said to Nkechi, hand over your salary to me right now. And Nkechi said, even if you are using charm, my dear husband, it has failed. This made him to start beating her again. And the former came out and was very angry, and she shouted, Mother, what are you still doing with this woman beater when you already have your house? This made Okon to stop immediately, and he asked, house? So you bought a house without telling me, your husband? Okay. He picked his phone and made a call. And when he was done, he said, I want to know who the man of this house is. This is the highest form of disrespect, oh. My daughter knows that you own a house, but I, your husband, is naive of it. Today, we mark the end of this arrant nonsense. The next day, Nkechi could not go to work because of the bruises on her face, and she was surprised to see her husband's people in the afternoon. She said to them, nobody told me you were coming. And one of them said, that doesn't matter. We are here, and that's it. Just while they were discussing, Okon came in. He greeted and said, the only thing I want you people to do for me right now is to tell my wife to hand over the house documents that she bought and the other property documents to me. If she is not ready to do that, she should simply go in there, pack all her things, and leave my house right now. And one of the elders said to her, Mba. No, it hasn't gotten to that. calm down. Let's settle this thing amicably. And Nkechi interrupted and said, I will go. Just take a good look at my face. Your son did it to me over nothing. And the man said to her, you can't go. Husband and wife do quarrel, and then they settle. And Nkechi responded, not when my life is being threatened. She stood up just to go inside and pack her things. And every one of them was amazed to see Okonicha apologizing. He thought bringing his people would bring his wife to submit all he had been requesting. He didn't expect that his wife would jump at the option of packing her things and leaving. He opened up immediately. Packed to where? My life is in shambles. My business is almost folding. My customers had reduced drastically. If you go, then my nakedness will be seen by everyone. Please forgive me. I have been foolish. And one of the elders interrupted and said, stop it. They don't beg a woman this way. Else you'll be massaging her pride. And Okonicha said to all of them, oh, yeah. You have all tried. Please start going. Let me settle with my wife. The elders felt disgraced and disappointed. But Okonicha didn't mind. And they all left his house. He knelt down before his wife and said, look at my face. Everything that I did to you, please replicate it on my face. Punch me, slap me, bite me, pinch me, but please don't go. And Nkechi said, my mind is made up. I am leaving. If you want me and our daughter back, then you just have to go and upgrade in your craft. And when you are done, we will retake our vows. Only then will I come back. And Okonicha said, I am ready. My madam, I am very ready. But the problem is, I don't have money. And Nkechi said, that's not a problem. I will pay. She packed a few things to her house together with her daughter. She stayed 1 week at home, applying every medication, including honey on her face, just so it could clear off. She was lucky to have her face back and paid for her husband's fee in a reputable fashion school, and she resumed her work. Okonicha was devoted. He goes 3 times a week and will practice whatever he learns in his shop. He was so smart that he learned not just the sewing aspect, but he also paid detailed attention to their marketing strategy and how they arranged their office. He discussed with his wife, and Nkechi was excited because this is all she had ever wanted. She willingly gave her husband money, and Okonicha expanded and rearranged his shop. He started sewing styles that were in vogue, and before you know it, his runaway customers returned, and he started making cool cash. When he was done with his fashion school, he opened his own, and he had people who enrolled because sincerely his works were distant and he made enough money. He and Nkechi, his wife, missed themselves and they valued themselves more. He pleaded that his wife returned home, but Nkechi insisted on the vow renewal, which Okonicha happily did. She returned home with her daughter, and they lived like Romeo and Juliet. Ifeoma was so glad to see her parents living in peace again. Where Okonicha was became so small, and they had to turn the 4-bedroom duplex to a fashion school. And just very soon, his wife's money became a peanut to him, and he appreciated his wife for being patient with him and bringing out the Odogu in him. They apologized to Ifoma, their daughter, and Ifoma said, "I am so proud to be your daughter. You have made me realize that no matter how bad things have gone in a home, that it can be repaired if the husband and wife are determined. Thank you for not allowing this home to be broken." They hugged themselves and lived together happily forever. Hey, Africantales by Kamo Tribe. I know you enjoy the story. Please give it a thumbs up, and you can as well share with your loved ones. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please do. Just before I go today, I would like to say this. As a father and as a mother, you have a key role in shaping your children's mindset on how they see marriage. If your home is in chaos, you are not helping your children. You may want to stay apart for some time and re-strategize. Then when you come back, you correct whatever negative impression you must have passed to your children about marriage. A healthy marriage breeds secured and confident children. And above all, marriage is beautiful only when the two parties involved work as a team and not as competitors. You can please take your time and settle whatever disputes you have in your home. Water that your garden and make it look beautiful, just as the one you see and admire. And trust me, you will be so glad that you did. On this note, my special virtual hug is for Valerie Green, watching from Atlanta, Georgia. Chinaza, watching from Cyprus. Claudette, watching from USA. Amina Sheriff, watching from Sierra Leone. I am so glad that you all enjoy my story. Please tell me again in the comment section what you learned from this particular one. And if you want a special hug from me, please do tell me where you're watching from as well. Till I bring another story your way, it is a goodbye and God bless you.